Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay.
Hello, everyone. Christina Werner here. Today's day 13 of the holiday card series, and I have the cutest card for you. It uses this stamp set called Christmas Cactus from Say It With Stamps and Photoplay, and I love this card. It's so whimsical and funny, and I just love it. It's such a great card. I'm starting out by stamping 3 of the cacti from the stamp set in intense black ink from Honeybee. And I am actually using Copic Express It cardstock today. I recently had a conversation with my friend Lori, who works closely with the people who developed Olo markers, which I'll be using today to color with. And she mentioned that she personally has a lot more success using Copic Express It paper. And she said it's because it's slightly coated and so it doesn't absorb the ink quite as quickly. And so it just works a little bit better. Some people who have used Olos have mentioned the fact that the ink flow coming out of the pens is very strong. It's a little bit different than Copics, especially if your Copics are a little bit on the older side and might need re-inking. Coming to these nice, new, juicy markers might just be a little bit jarring. So I decided to switch to this Copic Express It paper today and see if I could sense the difference. And spoiler alert, I did. The difference is subtle, but I did notice it, and it was a little bit easier to use lots of ink to get my colors to blend on this paper in particular, as in comparison to like the Nina Solar White cardstock that I usually use. So I did heat set the stamping just to make sure that nothing would smear or smudge, especially because I had stamped the images multiple times using my MISTI. And then we're going to get into the coloring.
Christmas is coming. Start sending your letters off to Santa. Christmas is coming, yeah. Better be nice if you want your present. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Christmas is coming, yeah. Staying up late looking out the window, yeah. Christmas is coming, yeah. Spotting some sleigh rides and some jingle bells. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Christmas is coming, yeah. Roasting some chestnuts on the fire, yeah. Christmas is coming, yeah. Celebration and surprises. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Ooh, yeah. Tell all your brothers, sisters, and mama and papa too.
coloring is finished, I love this color palette. The green of the cacti is just so bright and vibrant. So there are dies that you can buy that coordinate with the stamp set, but I didn't purchase them when I bought my stamp set. So I fussy cut these out with my scissors, which wasn't too bad. There weren't any like really tricky spots, and it went fairly quickly. It wasn't too bad. So I just trimmed these out, and I kept a little bit of a white border on them, mostly because I wanted them to stand out from my background that I'm going to be inking up. And speaking of that background, I'm using the tin tile stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to be using some peacock cardstock from Concord and Ninth. I'm going to tape the cardstock to the stencil from the back side, just using a little bit of EZC tape. And then I'm going to take Midnight ink from Concord and Ninth, and I'm going to use a blender brush from Honeybee, and I'm just going to be blending that in from the edges. I want to keep the center area of this background pretty free from any color. I didn't want the pattern to go all the way up against where the cacti will be. I wanted there to be a little bit of a place for your eye to rest. I think it would be a little bit too much to have this kind of pattern going all the way across the entire card front. So I lifted up that stencil, and there were some marks left on the center area, and I think it's because my fingertips got very, very inky from the ink on the stencil, and it transferred. But not a problem. I'm going to be putting the cacti over those areas. So as far as the greeting goes, it says Merry Cactmas. So cute. And I wanted to include it, but I thought, you know what, do I need to have this on 2 lines? So I kind of looked at the card, looked at the sizing of the cacti, and I decided that I would need to have the words on separate lines. So just to make it easier on myself, I did a little stamp surgery and cut the words apart. So I stamped them separately so that I could cut them out separately and adhere them individually on the card. I prepped my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool and then stamped those words in Versamark ink. The cardstock I used for this is Midnight cardstock from Concord and Ninth. So I coated the Versamark stamping with some white embossing powder. This is Alabaster embossing powder from Burtis Monroe. Then I hit it with my heat tool to melt the powder. I then used a ruler and a craft knife to trim out the words. I like to do the longer edges of the words with a craft knife and then use my scissors just for the short ends. Added some foam behind those in preparation for the assembly, and then I started putting my card together. So I put some Tombow Extreme adhesive on the back of the background, and that's when I discovered that my background was a little too short. So I had to use a ruler and that craft knife once again just to trim up the end of my card. So I put some foam adhesive on the back of the cacti. I had the center one up on 2 layers of foam tape so that it's popped up just a little bit more than the other 2 cacti. And then I adhered the words as well. At this point, I decided, you know what, it needs something else. The spacing just doesn't feel right. So I thought, you know what, it needs some more pops of red. So I grabbed my mini hearts dies from Simon Says Stamp, and I already knew that I had a little baggie in there with pre-cut red hearts. And I had some that were actually cut out of red glitter paper. And I put those on the front of the card, and they didn't look quite right. And I think they needed a white outline, kind of like the cacti. So I glued them to some white cardstock and then trimmed them out with my scissors, just so that they would have that white outline kind of border, just like the cacti. I put little itty bitty tiny squares of foam tape behind the hearts and then put them directly underneath those words and kind of nestled up into that small cactus. One more little detail that I'm going to do on the front of this card. It looked kind of funny. They looked like they were just floating. The cacti had no ground. So I thought, you know what, I'll add a dashed line just going through the bottom area, and it will give the illusion of some sort of ground for them to be standing on. Grabbed my glossy accents and added a little bit of shine right onto each one of these Christmas lights. And then I'll let that dry and it will be completely clear. You'll see it in the finished photos. So this is the end of day 13 for the holiday card series. This card is so whimsical and fun. I love the shine. I like the glitter, and the colors look so fun. This one turned out really, really great. I think it's one of my favorites so far this year. Let me know if you've got a favorite so far down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching today. Everything I've used, the stamps, stencil, the inks, paper, everything I've used is listed down in the video description as per usual. And I will be back with day 14 of the holiday card series very soon. Thanks for watching.